Hello, I'm Courtney Holland. Welcome to the latest episode of Save Our Towns, a series designed to guide and inspire those who are working hard in Appalachia to build strong communities. This episode takes you to Bramwell, West Virginia, which found a winning way to cash in on the Hatfield-McCoy ATV Trail. Spoiler alert, your Cleveland update is truly explosive. Your expert tip may also be a surprise, and you're sure to enjoy Maxwell's Shakespearean number. As always, we close with 3 questions for a mayor. First, you're going to see even more of Maxwell Vandervliet as he reports your example of awesome story from Bramwell, once called the town of millionaires.
The Bluestone River runs right through the picturesque town of Bramwell, West Virginia, situated in the mountains near the Virginia border. Once boasting the largest number of millionaires per capita in America, this former home to coal and railroad barons has shrunk to 364 residents, well below its peak population in the 1920s. Now, many of the mansions are in a state of decay. Because of the great turn-of-the-century wealth, the come-down was dramatic.
When the Hatfield-McCoy Trails opened hundreds of miles to ATV riders in 2000, no one thought it would be the answer to Bramwell's economic development troubles.
But by 2004, the trail had added hundreds more miles, making it one of the largest off-highway vehicle trails in the world. Eventually, one town in Mercer County would be picked for the trailhead. Against other competing locales, Mayor Louise Dawson Stoker talked up Bramwell as perfect for riders.
We had a place they could not only hop on their ATVs and ride the trails from, but also a place they could come in for a weekend and enjoy.
The arguments worked, and in May 2012, the trailhead opened less than a mile from Main Street. But the mayor saw that more needed to be done. Ordinances needed to be passed making the town ATV-friendly, but also setting clear rules.
Yes, you must ride a helmet. Yes, there are streets you may not ride on. Yes, you must park here. No, you may not do wheelies and stand on your head running through Main Street in the town.
So why do riders come here to the Pocahontas Trail instead of somewhere else along the 700 miles of the Hatfield-McCoy Trail? In a story in the Bluefield Telegraph, riders praised the quality of the trails and their safety markings. Business owners on Main Street attribute much of their success to the trail riders. Annette Petralis moved to Bramwell from Florida with her partner. One of the businesses they operate is a restaurant.
We stepped into a business that we had never been in before. We had never even waitressed at before, so we didn't really know how difficult and time-consuming and involved we would be, hands-on, and that's exactly what we did. We opened the restaurant, never expecting there'd be hundreds of riders. And people looking for food, items, lodging.
The Hatfield-McCoy Trail carries 2 names that conjure up heartbreak and history. The hope in Bramwell is that the 2 clans might now have their names on an enterprise that is more about coffers than coffins.
News flash from Cleveland, the town we're following for a year. There's a new mayor in town who we'll meet in future episodes. Meanwhile, David Sutherland was still in office when we interviewed him about the town's demolition project.
Who doesn't love a good boom? In Cleveland, only a stick of dynamite could improve some of the old buildings.
We had folks come in and take a good hard look at them because we didn't want to just tear them down. One of them, the whole back end and the roofs caved in. You know, the only option was for the town to buy them and demolish them.
It was a tough call. Despite the sorry shape of a couple of buildings by the river, people recalled the days when previous generations gathered there.
We've had some folks really upset about that. Very few, because most folks understand, but those buildings are blighted. They're blight. They're too far gone to repair at this point.
Town officials were united in knowing the job had to be done, including the mayor at the time, especially since the buildings are in a flood zone.
Every time they get flooded, the foundations and everything get weaker and weaker, and it's a lot more cost effective with FEMA, the way FEMA sees it, to go ahead, pay for it, get them demolished now.
Since these properties, these derelict properties are along the river, FEMA stepped up to pay for that because they really wanted to get those properties away from the floodplain, and that's understandable.
Within 60 days of opening sealed bids in September, demolition was done. An old school building on a separate site was taken down to make way for a campground. Part of the design concept team, Virginia Tech students working at the Community Design Assistance Center. So completing the demolition means
we can start our campground and our river park, so we're really excited about getting to that stage of the process.
And now it's time for Maxwell's Number. Are you sure you're ready for this?
Dirty coal, a tragedy to befall. Devil's Fork, a beautiful waterfall. Many of you may recognize that form as a couplet, the ending of a sonnet, which brings us to this week's number 14. 14 is the number of lines in a sonnet and also the number of towns in Appalachian Virginia that will benefit from a pending government grant. For example, Devil's Fork will receive funding to clean up a waterfall that has been polluted by coal mining. Other towns may receive funding to help transition former coal mine sites to parks and solar panel farms. With this governmental help, Devil's Fork may once again make a big splash with its waterfall. And now I'll leave you with another couplet. The dirty waterfall in Devil's Fork may soon become a pristine natural park.
Your expert tip comes from T. Allen Comp, who worked for the Department of Interior and is an expert on watershed and community improvement projects in Appalachia. He urges that you look into low-cost labor in the form of AmeriCorps and VISTA volunteers.
Those are huge sources of capacity that is so challenging in so many of our rural communities. And the chance to have a full-time, college-educated young person who really wants to make a difference in your town for a year at very low cost can just be there to help. And a lot of times it's just that much more help that can make a big difference.
You can read a transcript of the complete interview at the Save Our Towns website, where Comp talks more about why, as a historian, he's optimistic about small towns. Click on the Connect with Experts tab. Next, here is an extension agent with an innovative social media project. Matthew Miller's storytelling on YouTube and the Wythe County's Faces of Agriculture Facebook page show snippets from the lives of pumpkin growers, trout farmers, dairy farmers, and more. For instance, challenges on a 58-acre dairy farm include
coyotes, which we've mostly headed off by keeping a hot electric fence on the perimeter.
Miller helps to educate the public and school children about the importance of agriculture and its value to the local economy. Through the interviews and posts, thousands of people have gained insight into the challenges and successes of local agriculture producers, helping to debunk misconceptions about the industry. For more information, go to the Save Our Towns website. You'll find Miller under the Extension tab. Now we return to Bramwell to ask 3 questions of a mayor.
My name is Louise Dawson Stoker, and people call me Lou Stoker. In the town, I am the mayor of Bramwell, West Virginia. Historic. The biggest challenge that came about under my administration has been what we could do to preserve this wonderful town. Home of the millionaires is what we're called. How can we preserve it for the future? Now, we know that we must have economic development, many other things, so that was a challenge that we're rising to. I would like people to know many things, of course, but it's a wonderful place to live. It's beautiful, it's quaint, it's historic, it's child-friendly, and it is grown-up friendly.
For more resources and contact information for the experts we interview, go to the Save Our Towns website, and please send your thoughts to saveourtowns@vt.edu. This is episode 5 of season 3. Be sure to join us next time. Thanks for watching.